You're welcome.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Same here.
I know a lot of people watch and learn a lot from you, especially when it comes to the entertainment industry. Like, I have heard him, I have seen him, but today we are going to give you some great insights. So make sure you watch and learn. Wait, is that a smile I see on his face? Ameyaw smiling to my intro? Damn, girl, I'm too good and you can't tell me nothing. I think Ameyaw deserves a proper intro. What do you guys think? Editor, let's take you from the top. Today we have a very special guest, a true pioneer in Ghana's media digital space. He's a celebrated blogger, a content creator, and one of the most influential voices in entertainment journalism. Ladies and gentlemen, join me as we dive into the inspiring journey of Ameyaw Debrah, the man behind the stories, the platform, and the legacy. Get ready for a conversation that is insightful, entertaining, and full of lessons for people who are chasing their dreams. My name is Jenny, and welcome to the Jenny Lifestyle Lounge. So now let's take it from the very beginning. How did journalism and blogging start for you?
I keep saying that it's by chance because I was in the university and I studied BA Publishing Studies.
Okay.
And I had the opportunity to do my national service with Ovation magazine because I won a prize that was sponsored by them.
Okay.
And when I was at Ovation doing the national service, that was the first time I started really sort of reporting.
Okay.
And so that's where the early stages sort of kicked off. And Ovation was more soft sell. It was lifestyle and a bit of entertainment. And I started going out, attending events, interviews, interviewing people, celebrities, business people.
Okay.
And so pretty much that's how it started.
How did you choose the digital space as compared to the traditional media then?
I think it just found me. I mean, at the time I was starting, that was when internet was penetrating to Ghana.
Right.
It was becoming part of us.
Mm-hmm.
And so while I was at Ovation, when I created social media accounts for myself, it really started on High Five. Most people didn't know back then, but there was a platform called High Five, similar to what Facebook has become back then. So I started sharing some of my experiences on the platform, and I realized that people were moving to it.
Right.
So and I was somebody who was always online, and so as my career path sort of took shape, it was just a natural sort of progression for me because I found myself there. And so even though Ovation was print, and that's how I started, eventually, when I was leaving Ovation, I started writing to a lot of publications online, Pan-African ones, telling them, hey, most of you are based in the UK, based in the US. And I was like, I am based here. So if you wanted first-hand content, I could give you. So I started contributing to a lot of these platforms. And then eventually I had the opportunity to join the Voices of Africa project, where they gave a Nokia phone to journalists across Africa. And we were supposed to use the phone to create content. We shoot video, edit on the phone, and then we upload onto a server. And then they carry it as news on africanews.com. And so those were the early stages of me sort of finding my footing on that space. And it was impactful because a platform like Ghana Web saw my work on African News and contacted me and say, I want you to be our content editor. And then somewhere in between that period, I also launched Ameyawdebrah.com and I haven't looked back since. So it's just a natural progression of something that I started loving and now eventually turning into a career.
We will have amazing people like you. I mean, start a beautiful thing and there won't be challenges. And you talk about doing with your phone, uploading, the editing and all. What were some of the challenges when you were establishing Ameyaw
I think the early stage was connectivity issues, having reliable internet, having money to move around and create the content that I was creating. And I was fortunate because, like I said, the project with Voice of Africa, when you meet your monthly target, you get paid a fixed amount. And so I was earning a little. And then when I joined Ghana Web, I was also earning from them. So it helped. But the challenge came when the owner of Ghana Web then came to Ghana for the first time. And then when he turned on radio, you hear so and so event, media partners, Ameyaw Debrah.
Wow.
And I was like, hey, so Ameyaw Debrah is so big, and we are paying you also. So it's like conflict of interest. So now they started raising this issue of conflict of interest, and eventually I had to leave. So now, because I was getting a salary from Ghana Web, so I can go around and do all my house. At the end of the day, I knew I was getting salaries. But now that I was leaving Ghana Web, everything was like left to me. And back then, as much as the platform was getting popular, the avenues for making money wasn't there because it was still early stage of digital, and so businesses didn't understand, and they weren't working with a lot of digital brands like myself. But I think once I knew that I was onto something, when I get the feedback people put out there, when I put my content out there, it sort of assured me that I was onto something. So I stuck with it, and then went through those growing pains until not just me, but the platform, the ecosystem around digital became evident, and then people started tapping into it, and it now became something that some of us could now look at as a business.
Great. That's like been amazing. Now let me take you a little back. Looking back, what's that defining moment in your career that made you one of the top tier bloggers in Ghana?
Well, I think sort of peaking early put me in a unique space already, because there was nobody doing what I was doing. And also people seeing it as a personality, because the brands were all in my name. So it wasn't people didn't see it as something random, a platform that anybody was just doing. They could identify me, they could find me, they could speak to me. So that made it easy to grow on. There's been lots of defining moments, personal moments for me. Some of them, you interview somebody and the person says something so profound and you're like, oh, that's deep. Sometimes you do something and the reach, where it goes, you're like you feel rewarded. I mean, for example, I think one of my early interviews that really did well was when Amber Rose came to Ghana. And as usual, they take pictures with poor kids on the street, and there was this backlash globally that is still the same narrative. You go to Africa and you're projecting children with flies on their mouth. And then I had the opportunity to interview her. So I now gave her the opportunity to explain why she did that. And it was a very sweet sort of moment. And at that time, all the big American platforms pick up and they flew with it. And another moment was, I think, was it Omarion? I think Omarion came to Ghana. And the picture I got of him was the first time the world had seen him without his hair. I think he had done a haircut. He had gone through a haircut. So a lot of them, international people picked it up and say, hey, he has a new haircut. I was all over. So it feels good. Because, I mean, for me to do my thing locally and then it penetrates and it's everywhere. It's amazing. It's been some of the highlights.
I would like to, go deeper, but time won't allow me. But I like the fact that you've been able to create such recognition, not only for us Ghanaians to tap in and be proud, like Ameyaw is coming from us, but also for yourself. Because talk of these people is like a big deal, like a really, really, really big deal. Now let's go back to when you started. You and I can tell that the digital platform has evolved. Now, how are you able to increasingly get your information and everything up to par? Because now it is very competitive. How are you really doing it?
So, as part of the evolution, we've come far and now we have a team. And so they are responsible for a lot of the content that goes out and they are quite up to it. There are young people.
So now Ameyaw is behind the scenes,
I'm
or he's
resting.
still.
I'm still in it, but I do
Okay.
very specific things.
Okay.
I lead a team to do things
Right.
and say, lead them here and say, look, something is happening, do that. But I've surrounded myself with very vibrant people, and they're all strong for different things. And so collectively, we're able to shine as a unit. But that's the point I've gotten to where I don't rely on. But like you rightly said, there is so much competition, there's so much evolution in terms of what is trending now. I mean, I see that, a lot of the content is now being consumed on social media. And so you have to have that presence and create content on this platform. People are clicking less and less to read websites because the content is readily in front of them on social media in various formats. And so you have to compete with that. And on top of it, a lot of new people have emerged and they are all getting strong and getting audience for whatever they do. And so you have to do what you're doing, make the communities you serve see that you're there, and then hopefully bring on board new community members so that and then the algorithms are changing. You don't even know what they're looking for on platforms. So you always have to be up to speed. Technology is evolving, it's taking center stage everywhere. So you really have to know how to play ball and be relevant in all of that.
But with the team you have now, I mean, if it was Ameyaw Debrah, I mean, the credibility has been there for quite a long time. Now you have a team that I know some of them are out there reporting and all that. How do you know we are getting the right source of information without any miscommunication, any misconception? Like people are like, how are you able to gather all these things and know that they are credible before they come out?
I mean, it's bringing everybody up to speed and letting them know that, hey, we stand for this, we believe in this, this is the nature of what we are doing. And so I think they've, over the years of working with me, know that this is what I want. This is what so even if they're not sure, they would ask you.
Awesome.
And then together we'd be like, okay, let's wait, let's get more details before this or that. So I think, yes, pretty much they are aware that even though they are working as individuals, everything that goes out comes back to me. It's a brand that I've built, it's a name that I have, so it can help.
I get that perfectly. That makes sense.
So they are led.
Yeah. Now, with social media dominating everywhere in the world now, do you think traditional media still holds some relevance now?
Well, yes, and I think even in the most advanced of places, traditional media didn't just evaporate when digital came. I mean, it was thought it would, but there are still those who would rather read a newspaper in the train than scroll through a phone. And so I think as media owners, it's important that we satisfy everybody across that spectrum. And so what you realize that traditional media has done as part of the evolution is to find their own presence also on social media. And so for those who want to consume their morning show by watching it on TV, fine, you can watch it. If you want to listen to it on radio, you can. But at the end of the day, if you're the user that is on the go and you are getting your content on mobile, then they are on social media serving you snippets of highlights from their various shows. Sometimes they're even streaming live across these platforms too. So it's a beautiful synergy and nobody gets left out. So I don't think we will get entirely to a point where traditional media is out entirely. I don't see it happening. But in the very futuristic future, it could happen.
Sure, that's a good one there. Now let me bring you home. I mean, most of our celebrities feature on your platform heavily. Have you had to get any conflict or misunderstanding with any of them?
Well, I mean, looking at the mechanisms that we put in place in creating our content, it's difficult to go against and have sort of rub it off people in the wrong way. But every now and then something happens, and sometimes you realize that it's not because you said something wrong, but it's somebody has seen something on your website and has called somebody to interpret it differently from what the actual thing is. And so when the person calls and was like talking, oh, how did you do that? I'm like, but have you read it? And then they'll go and see it and realize that, oh, it's not that. Because for us, what we do is we want to only put out the fact. And so if it's factual and it's even it gives you a bad image, you know that, well, that's what it is. But what would be wrong on our part will be to tell lies that now you say this is not it. And
so is that why Ameyaw ever said he wasn't going to talk about Shatta on his platforms?
Well, yeah, pretty much also because these people, looking at the way that I do my stuff, it's not like they're writing about these people is bringing me millions of dollars.
Right.
No, it doesn't. So it's easy for me to cut somebody off. With Shatta, it was more because it was carrying out as a threat. And so I was like, why even suffered this? It's easy to let it go, not write about this person, and be at your place. And so that's the position I took until recently, where we've started creating content on him. So his was, I think it was in the early stages where he was competing with Shatta's Stoneboy, what's his name, Samini.
Okay.
And so I thought if you wrote something to praise Samini, you were against him. And if you wrote something about him, it was against him. But I think pretty much maybe in his heart of hearts, he's realized that really, I don't really give a toss about who or whatever. But like I said, at the end of the day, I'm doing a business and to tell the fact.
Yeah, well, it's part of the business too. I mean, we understand it's part of the game. Now, I don't know how to say this, but well, let me just go into it. Have you ever felt pressured to align with any political or corporate, for the interest? I mean, people will come to you just to cover a story. We just recently finished, Ghanaians had to elect a new president. Have you for any chance had people approach you with regards to this, financially?
No. For me, I've built these platforms, and so yes, a lot of people, businesses, individuals, political parties have realized the importance of the platforms I've built. And so when they want to campaign, when they want to communicate their messages, of course, like my platform is like just like any other one, so it's open, and I do get those interests. But it's, sometimes when you engage with them, it's the understanding on the other side that becomes a little bit worried, because people are not sophisticated enough or clever enough, let me just say bluntly. They're not clever enough to know that this is an advertising and it's not an endorsement. And so now people later on will now tag you that you're doing the biddings of party A or party B. But I've always said that we are very open.
But not for any time or chance have you had to accept something just to cover a story for a political party?
No. It's paid for. You're paying for it.
Okay.
And it's a campaign. So,
but does it not affect your branding anyway? Just like you said, people sit behind and they're like, they're talking about...
It shouldn't affect the brand, and I don't think it has. Because at the end of the day, just like TV3 will advertise for party A or B, I should be also... But I'm not going out there and say, I'm endorsing, go and vote for this person. That's entirely different. Then I won't allow myself to be enticed with money and say, and go and voice out and say, hey, go and vote for them. That's wrong.
Ameyaw is big for that. Too big for that.
Yeah, it must be something. If somebody like maybe John Dumelo was campaigning and I want to endorse him, that's different. It's because I've known him for a period, and so it's going to be a testimony that, hey, I've known John, I think he can do this, and so vote for him. That's quite different. It's not going to be tagged and enticed by money. No. When it comes to money, I have the red card, look at it, and that's it. So my conscience is clear.
Okay. All right. Looking at it, I mean, today, I know you have seen people coming up, new bloggers, these young bees and all that. If you had to advise them with just one thing, what do you think that will be?
I'd say look within and find what you are passionate about and what makes you unique, and let it sort of shine through. And I think, like you're saying, people are able to read from afar and tell whether you are just in it. You want to do it well and be noticed. I mean, when you look at people and the journey they've gone through, even if they're doing it rubbish and they give it so much energy, you realize that this person has it in him. He wants to turn this into something. And so, yes, you must be driven by passion, and you should look at people in the space you want to be and find out how they're doing it. Monitor, observe, even ask questions. They may be able to lead you to.
By reaching out to you guys, do you people avail yourself? Do you respond to them?
I mean, I can speak for myself, and I try. I mean, if I see it, I respond to it, but I can't say that for everybody. I think for me, I'm somebody. I keep the communication going because I build platforms, I build communities, and so it's important to interact with the people in that community. I'm not just say, hey, I'm here to make money, watch and go. No, and I think people feel that even from when I reply comments and all of that. Yeah.
If you should look back to how you began and where you have gotten to now, is there anything you think you would change about you or the brand?
Well, I'll probably have found ways to make money early. But then, like I said before, it wasn't all about me, but also about the ecosystem, whether the opportunities were there, whether the businesses were open to it. I just would have wished that all of that happened quicker and faster, because at that time it was just me. And imagine if everything was coming to me back then, the money I would have made. But now people are understanding the space, and like you said, there are a lot of players, and so I have to share the goodies with everybody. And so, yes, I think that's the only difference. And I mean, I think I made the right decision building a brand around me, using my name for the platforms. I think it made it unique. And so, yes, I'm just more looking forward to the future to see what is coming, how we can evolve to be players in those big changes that may be coming.
Right. This has been an insightful conversation. I know a lot of you have picked a lot from, especially those who want to be in the media space. You've learned a lot, you've grabbed what you need to grab, and hey, don't forget to reach out. Not forgetting, you are just a calm person. Aside this whole thing, in one word, who is Ameyaw Debrah?
I mean, as a shy person, he tries to have fun when he can, but he's a people's person. I try to make people feel comfortable, and the respect they deserve, and whatever merit that they deserve based on what they put out. And I try to support people. So I'm an all-around cool guy.
This has been a very good one. And like I said earlier, you guys are going to learn a lot. And I know you have learned a lot. Hop on his channel, all his media platforms, and keep learning. He has given you people the right to reach out. So please, no door movement. Until then, we are going to see you again. Don't forget to watch, share, comment, and then subscribe. I'll see you again.